Will glamping be shut down today? It could. I'm going in front of the Board of County Commissioners in a public hearing here in Monument, Colorado, and I want to explain my feelings with you right now. Hey, I'm Chris, the Glamping Guy, and I started Glamping Guy a couple years ago to help people like you develop safe, legal, and profitable glamping operations on your private property. And I am walking the walk because today I'm going to be appearing in front of the Board of County Commissioners for my final appearance of what's called a public hearing. Now, this is the third special use permit that I've applied for here in El Paso County in Colorado. The first two were approved administratively, meaning I jumped through all the hoops and crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's and successfully convinced the administration that this was a good thing. This time I have community opposition, or I should say neighborhood opposition, that is that doesn't want it and doesn't think it's a good idea for the neighborhood. So in this video, I want to just break down the history of really what I'm applying for, explain to you how the process so far, this is the final day of it, that the public hearing has gone on, and then make some predictions, give you the kind of the plan that we have for today, and then conclude at that. You know what? And I gotta say, I do not know how this is going to turn out. The wind will blow the way it blows, and either I'm going to be shut down, or I'm going to succeed with the developments that I want, or somewhere in between. And that will probably be a future video. But now the drama is high and the anxiety is high too. But now all I have to say, I am Glamping Guy. I do have a class called 8 Weeks to Launch, and it is open right now. It actually just the cart just opened today. And it is an 8-week course where I walk students through the intricacies of development of a glamping operation. I have 2 properties. I'm licensed for, well, I don't know how many I'm licensed for quite yet. You'll find out about that here. I've made this my livelihood. This is what I do for a living now. Wendy and I love outdoor hospitality, and we welcome people to this beautiful property. Here I've got a few tents in the background that you can see, and it's a wonderful life running a glamping operation. So that's what I teach. In 8 Weeks to Launch, go to glampingguy.com and get registered. If you're watching this video at a later date and it's not live, get on the waiting list, still register your email with me so that I can let you know the next time I teach it. But anyway, I'm a teacher who walks the walk. I just don't talk the talk. A quick history of this operation. This is actually I'm standing on the property that this concerns. I've lived here for 24 years, so I know my neighbors well, even though they're standing in opposition, or some of them are standing in opposition right now. I did get administratively approved for 8 tents on the property. At the end of 2022, the year I got my special use, I went ahead and asked for permission to swap one of the tents out for an RV. Long story, I got a great deal on an RV, and I thought, well, maybe this will fit. And it has the same impacts of a tent, of a luxury tent, but it's still an RV. Boom, I got a letter of violation that said that's not allowed. And I said, well, what do you mean I wasn't allowed? And that created a little contentious situation because I wasn't allowed. My original special use said tents, or my site plan did anyway, and I was sticking in an RV. So what do? The planning department suggested, well, how about you apply for a modification? That's where we're at. So the modification started off as, I want to have the liberty to swap out tents for hard-sided structures, like an RV, or a tiny home, or a container home, or something like that. As long as the impacts are the same, meaning the same occupancy, the same idea of our special use, I just want to change the structure. Actually, I thought that was a better deal. For the neighborhood and for me and everyone. So I thought everyone would be happy. It did not satisfy some of the neighbors, and I actually just one neighbor, and the neighbor sent letters out to the whole neighborhood and really created a big problem for me. I tried to rally support. She tried social media, that didn't work well at all, but the letter campaign seemed to work and get people who honestly never drive down here. They didn't even know I existed until they were told I existed. They want to shut me down. They've been very clear about that in their letters. I talked with one of them. They were very upset that I called them a NIMBY, and I'm sorry I called them a NIMBY, but they really are telling me what I can and can't do in my backyard, because I do have the legal right to do what I'm doing. Mitigation of trying to appease to these neighbors got very expensive very quickly. I had to hire legal representation to represent me, because this is a public hearing. It's like I got to grow up here and actually do the real deal here, and I didn't want to get pummeled in a public hearing. I had to, but really the most important thing is that they didn't want to see my structures, and part of my property has this. I am on a slope, so they don't see it anyway. The people who can see it, who have a panoramic view, don't have any problem with it, so it's kind of ironic. But it is an open field, and they wanted screening and trees, and that's expensive. Like I got, the first quote was like $30,000. So I said, well, to mitigate that, I need to have more structures. 8. The recreation camp special use that I applied for doesn't really say how many units are allowed. So I said, well, let's go from 8 to 12. And then I positioned them right, and I said, okay, it's got to be beautiful screening, trees and some privacy fencing and stuff like that, but it's going to be expensive, and I need to pay for it. So as a business person, I need more structures. And that still wasn't good enough for them, and they said no. So like I said, it elevated to a public hearing level, and what that means is that we have to present it in front of 2 bodies. One is the Planning Commission for the county, and the second, which is happening today, is the Board of County Commissioners. But the Planning Commission did not go very well. In fact, I showed up at the Planning Commission expecting kind of a gentlemanly debate with my neighbors, some of them I've known for decades, and just have a good argument over whether this fits into our community. We're right next to a housing development that's PUD and monument, but we do have this beautiful creek, and then I'm kind of sheltering the rest of the neighborhood from the development. So it's called a transitionary subset. So it's really nice. It transitions nicely into the rural area. So glamping, if there's any place for a glamping operation to be, this is almost like the perfect property. So I went into the Planning Commission meeting very confident that we would win. Well, we lost. We lost on a 7-2 decision. The gentlemanly debate did not happen. It was 4 hours of Chris Jube's bad, he's evil, he's only out to make money, and he's breaking the rules and breaking laws, and he should be shut down. It was, and they did not stick to the criteria that we were sticking to. So all that to say, I felt like I got drawn through the ringer and kind of beat up. And that video is online. You can actually see it at my YouTube channel at Glamping Guy. You can watch the whole 4 hours if you really want. In the end, we were supported by 2 of the commissioners, one of them being the chair, who pretty much brought things, I felt like we're the grown-ups in the room, brought things back down to the ground level and saying, look, there's 7 criteria that we need to meet, and this operation meets all those criteria. Whether we like it or not, it meets the criteria. And I don't like that. I wish they all wanted it, but that's the way land use law goes. Now, fast forward to today. That was a few weeks ago, on June 6th. Today's June 27th, and now we're presenting in front of the Board of County Commissioners. Now, these are the guys that really do make the decision, and there's 5 of them, and they represent district. They're elected officials. They're not appointed. The Planning Commission are appointed members. They're volunteers. The Board of County Commissioners, they're the government. They're the real deal, and they get to decide whether this will be allowed or not. Let me make a prediction. We're going to win on a 3-2 decision. That's my prediction. So I need 3 of the commissioners to agree that our modification to our special use is conditionally, has some conditions, but they do meet the 7 criteria that we're going to be arguing. And one thing we teach in our 8 weeks of launch class is that we as glamping developers are actually land developers. We hate to admit it, because sometimes, like me, I started this just on my private property and never really thinking highly of big development. But here I am developing my property to have this wonderful outdoor hospitality business going, and I'm meeting the same kind of opposition that big developments meet. Subscribe to the channel and subscribe to my website, glampingguy.com. maybe even sign up for my class, and we'll really get down to the nitty-gritty and helping you build your your glamping operation, safe, legal, and profitable glamping operation on your private property. I'll see you next time.